Welcome back to the Guardians of Lore, Chapter 21, The Hero. I opened my hand and looked at the pen that Tyrant had been so ready to give up. I wished harder than I ever had before that I was right. Lifting the pen, I started to write in mid-air. The first stroke gave off a few sparks, almost too few to notice, but the next stroke made a brilliant line of orange as clear as day. Reem had taken notice. "Tyrant, did you know that your pen could do that?" Reem asked. "I'm busy," shouted Tyrant, still struggling to write in the book. "Why won't it let me write what I want?" The words started coming to me and didn't stop as I wrote in the air. The fairies that the dragon stole were all set free from his control. The stone fairies started to shed the chalky grayness of their bodies. Their original color started to shine through. Reem took a step back. The fairies flapped their wings, removing the last remnant of gray, and flew toward the dragon. Soon they had him on the ground, holding his mouth shut to prevent him from the breathing fire. The commotion got Tyrant's attention. "What's going on?" he shouted. That's when he saw my words etched in the air. They were moving now towards Tyrant, but instead of hitting him, they flew into the book, leaving a trail of smoke. "How did you do that?" asked Deli. Tyrant tried desperately to write in the air as I had, but nothing happened. "I don't understand it. You're using the wrong pen," he screeched. "No, Tyrant, you are." Tyrant's face twisted. "What do you mean?" "I think you might find the answer in the beginning of your book," I said. Tyrant flipped to the first hill of the book, the one that had always been locked. But this time, with the true fairy tale pen in his hand, he was finally able to turn the pages. "What does it say?" asked Swai. Tyrant read the tale with fire in his eyes as I explained. It tells the story of the king of the mountain and his siblings, and Tyrant following the dwarfs to find the wells for himself. "You mean the dwarfs knew?" asked Deli. "They must have, because they kept the true fairy tale pen here in the wells, the one that tells the story of good and evil. They knew that Tyrant would stop at nothing to find the other pen, so they kept its identity secret." "This can't be," Tyrant wailed. I continued. "They hid it in the safest place they could think of, in hands that lack imagination." "Your hands, Tyrant. All this time I had the pen, and I never knew," Tyrant moaned. "Of course," said Deli. "He values power more than anything, so he couldn't fathom that the dwarfs had given it to him freely. But you could," she said as she turned to me. Tyrant began to shake with fury. "Give it to me," he shouted, and flew straight for me. Before he could reach me, so I stepped in front and caught Tyrant mid-air. He held him down against the ground. "You don't fly at my friend," said Swai. "It lacks manners." I quickly wrote in the air above his head. The fairy's magic left forever. Immediately, Tyrant's pink glow began to fade until his skin was pale white. "What have you done to me? You can't," he protested. I thought for a moment, then finished the line. "Tackled by a boy more clever." Swai gave me a hug and a huge smile as he read the words. Tyrant spit and sputtered under him. Then I turned my attention to Reem, who was still struggling against the fairies. I wrote. The dragon lost his breath and flight. I had written it just in time. Reem burst out from beneath the fairies and turned toward us with his mouth wide open, but only air came out. What? What did you do to me? He said. In his anger, he hurled towards me. Never more to start a fight. The dragon stopped in his tracks. You won't be causing trouble anymore, Reem. Neither of you will, I added as I glared at Tyrant. I looked another few moments to think, and then I started writing in the sky again. The stolen fairies safe and sound, those they lost would now be found. The fairies zipped out of the room towards the other side of the lake. I knew they'd be headed straight to Paffordale, and if I had done it right, every fairy who had been sent through those dark cloud doors would be there waiting for them. That thought gave me another idea. The dragon and his fairy friend were sent away at Story's End to live inside a darkened cloud where only warlocks are allowed. At all once, Tyrant was flying from Swi's script straight into Reem's stomach, who was being tugged away much slower. This is not over, said Tyrant, as he and Reem were dragged by an invisible force. Reem didn't say a word. He just smiled a toothy grin at me as they were swept from the room. My words floated in the air for another second, then flew inside the book. The moment they did, there was an orange flush behind me. Soyan turned around to see that Deli was the source of it. She had changed. She was no longer a frog. In fact, she was about as far from a frog as you could get. Deli was a tall, pretty elf with long dark hair and pointy ears. Her glasses surrounded big brown eyes and freckled cheeks. Without them, I might not have known it was her. Whoa, said Swy. She gave us both a warm smile. Thank you, oh thank you, Deli said as she ran over and gave us a hug. When she pulled away, I noticed that she was wearing braces. I guessed they must have been hard to see when she was a frog. But you're wrong. I thought you've been around for a long time, I said. I have been, she said, but elves age differently than humans. I'm still a teenager in elf years. That's why I have to wear these braces. One day the hero will come along and turn you back into an elf, so you better take care of your teeth, frog or not. My dad is always saying he's the king of the elves, she said. Right, of course, I remembered. Well, she said, let's get out of here before something else happens.